welcome to the Keptn community meeting. Today is January 30th, so we reconvene after a short break. And today our goal is just to sync up on the projects and maybe talk about a few community matters. So I'll share my screen. Do you see it? Okay.
Not yet. No.
Yeah, well, better RTC is not always fast. So what do we have here today? So yeah, first of all, Happy New Year. So now it's 2022, and we've got quite a lot of things to do this year. So at the last meeting, we had a New Year update. I will share the link later. But yeah, I guess for the next year, we will need to spend some time maybe to review the roadmap. But yeah, there is a bunch of topics, plus there were some updates over the Christmas break. So you may have seen that there is Cap 45 from Thomas and the team. It's about the GitOps and Keptn. So it's a great progress, and thanks to everyone who participated in prototyping. And yeah, I guess that's it for that. So yeah, for Cap 45, it's basically it's 65. Sorry. Okay. Sounds cool. No. But yeah. So the next quick update, so we will have a user group next week, and this meeting will be about Keptn data, entity data. They will be talking about the Keptn use cases, and if you're interested, if you're a contributor, if you're a Keptn user, please join. So yeah, the announcement is on the same baby page, so take a look. And I believe it will be an interesting presentation for everyone. And I guess that's it from me. So the next item for us is Keptn 012.
Yeah, I did at the very last moment. I wanted just to say some small words about that. On Monday, we plan to release the new Keptn version 0.12. And so please stay tuned and test it out.
What are the key deliveries there?
There is maybe a small, there is a new service called Resource Service, which will be a replacement for the current configuration service. And this resource service is basically a configuration service on steroids, and it doesn't rely anymore on an internal Git repository. But it's by now disabled by default, and it's under a beta state, let's say, a testing state. And then please also look at the release notes for all the greatest features that we will release.
It's already on Keptn, right? On preview. Here,
Yeah,
right?
there is a bit of, yeah.
Yes. So yeah, that is quite a lot. Thank you. So the approximate ETA for this release is 2 weeks, if I recall correctly.
Could you repeat your question? Sorry.
So the ETA for this release is in 2 weeks.
No, in 3 days.
3 days.
Did I count it correctly? Yes, Monday, basically.
Okay. Nice. It's later.
4 days, true. Yeah, today is Thursday. 17th of January, to be precise.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. So if anyone has some advice, some testing, would be much appreciated. Yeah. So yeah, then there was a topic we had before the Christmas. So we have Artifact Hub, which is still within. Just a second, I will remove Slack. Yeah, so Artifact Hub is currently a part of Keptn sandbox, but we widely use this metadata for the Keptn side for Artifact Hub. And there was a proposal to actually promote it to production grade project. So either Keptn contribute or maybe just main Keptn organization. So I think it would be great to discuss where we should actually move it. And Christian is on the call. So Christian, what's your opinion?
I'm fine with either Keptn Contrib or the Keptn organization itself, given that we don't usually have third-party integrations living in the Keptn organization, but in Keptn Contrib, I think it better fits to Keptn Contrib. However, we've seen in the past that different organizations, different projects might have different views on that. So for Jenkins, for instance, I heard from you, Oleg, that they're putting everything into one organization rather than having like multiple organizations. So, yeah. But in short, I think Keptn Contrib would be better suited given our current setup, but I can live with both.
Mm-hmm. Any other opinions? What would be your preference?
If I would vote, I would go with Keptn Contrib, as Artifact Hub is dealing with contributions, and this is kind of made the project around all integrations, and so I think it would fit better into Keptn Contrib rather than the Keptn organization.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. So personally, I don't have strong opinion in the current state. I think that Keptn is generally better for discoverability, but assuming that we are going to glue all these organizations through metadata, more or less, yeah, I think that Keptn Contrib would be fine too. Probably we could also agree to make it a pinned one and maybe sacrifice one of the current pinned services. But
yeah, most definitely. Like notification service, unleash service, those are two that we can unpin because they are not as important as they used to be.
And also the Dmitry SSLI service is deprecated now.
Oh, you're right.
Okay, so maybe we could do some cleanup here. As you can see, I have no admin permissions in this organization. So maybe
I'll do that.
Okay, great. And so basically, there are either votes for Keptn Contrib or no strong opinions, right? Keptn Contrib, it is then. So you, so Giovanni, you will leave it, yeah? Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Great, thank you. So the next update is Keptn incubation status. Yesterday there should have been CNCF TOC meeting. I checked the meeting notes. There was no discussion for Keptn specifically, but definitely all projects are in the backlog. So they prioritized applications to the sandbox because they have basically insane number of them. But they're also looking into incubation to graduation applications. You may have seen there was announcement of Litmus cows just yesterday. So it's officially incubating project. And well, we have Litmus cows integration service. And yeah, hopefully Keptn will be reviewed soon. So I will be working with others to at least get update because we still didn't get confirmation from the TOC that they're fine with the due diligence document Jürgen and the team submitted, I believe, in June.
Is there any news for the security check?
Not no news as well.
Because I remember last status was that we'll do that on January, February.
Yeah. No, so I will also check. Yeah, I didn't check security, but you're right. It's also on the critical parts. From what I understood after talking with CNCF, QC, and program managers, they actually won't block incubation status due to the lack of security review, but yeah, they want to see it to be at least in progress by this time. So we still need to do it. Yeah. And all the next is about issues and contributions. So Christian, would you like to take it over if it's more convenient?
Yeah.
Or would you like me to screen share?
I'll share my screen. Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
If it allows me to share just one screen, I can share Firefox, I guess. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we've been working on several things in the background, automation, etc., and also did some bug fixes for the job executor service. And the end result is now that we can easily create a new release and the pre-release for job executor service. And we basically also just did that for the job executor service. If you want, please check out the release notes for version 0.1.5. Just keep in mind with this release, we are switching from Kubernetes manifest-based installation to Helm chart-based installation, which makes a lot of things so much easier. Yeah, essentially, you can install it now using Helm install, and you just refer to the Helm chart that we've attached to the release. Please note, if you already have installed an older version of Job Executor, you will have to uninstall it using kubectl delete and the command shown here, and then install the newer ones with one of the above commands. Key features that we've added is official support for Keptn 0.10. It also works with 0.11. It just means this is the target version that we've worked on. We added an image pull policy feature for the tasks. Let me quickly show you what this looks like. Essentially, it means when you specify an image that you want to run with Job Executor, you can now also specify the image pull policy for this image, same as you do with Kubernetes. So it's a great way of saying use the image if you already have it, or always pull it in case you use the latest image. Yeah, just gives you more flexibility. And beside that, some minor improvements, documentation tasks, etc. So, yeah. That's it from my side. Any questions?
Christian, just because of the discussion we had before about the artifact hub, is there already automation in place that does an update on the artifact hub project?
Yes, there will be an automated pull request on Artifact Hub around midnight regarding this new release. However, I think I need to tweak some things of this automation and manually because we're switching from the Kubernetes-based deployment to a Helm chart-based deployment. And I believe on Artifact Hub, you can directly then link this Helm chart, which will make it 1,000 times better, right?
Okay,
So,
very nice. Yeah, that there is automation in place.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, if there are no more questions, I'm handing over to whoever is next. I think Moritz.
Moritz couldn't attend the call, so I will just give a small introduction about what he did. Let me share maybe the screen. Yes, you should be able to see it now, right? Okay, so the first task we work on is on creating a new repository for our Helm charts. Right now, the Helm charts deployed or created by Keptn for the Keptn installation plus the JMeter service and the Helm service are currently under a Google Cloud storage, and we would like to get rid of this and instead use some special repository over GitHub to store them, to store our Helm charts. And yeah, we are currently working on towards this, and it will be released with Keptn 13, 0.13. So basically from Keptn 0.13, the new repository will be this one. So you can do Helm install Keptn, and it will download the charts from this repository. We can have a brief look at it.
Is there like a grace period for which both repositories will be filled with latest versions? Or will the old one disabled completely?
No, the old one will be still available for another extra release. So basically with Keptn 14 or 15, we will delete the old repository, but it will only contain the Helm charts until Keptn 12. So the release on Monday will be on both this one and the old one, but with 13 on, the old one will not receive any new chart. But you can still access the older charts for a period of time. More questions on this topic? If not, then we can jump to the next one. So it also provides some more automation towards Renovate, our new dependency manager that we have. If tests are green when a new PR is provided by Renovate, it will be also automatically merged, which is a really cool feature. So we don't need to look at the PRs anymore if the bumping of our library works. And also improve the integration tests. Now we also check for out of memory errors, and that's everything. So if there are no questions, then I will hand it over to Ermin.
Thank you very much. Just give me a second to share my screen. So, yeah, I'm going to present two pull requests today. So the first one is about showing a dialog to prevent data loss on unsaved forms. And in this specific case, we have the project settings page, which will in future also allow to change other project settings, and therefore when you change data there, the user should be notified before leaving the page. And this is done or a little bit changed in regards to how it was in the past. In the past, you would have immediately seen a data changed pop-up here. Now we changed that so that as soon as you try to leave, for example, I tried now to enter the environment screen, you get a notification here that you have pending changes, and I have the options to stay on this page or to discard changes and leave the page. And if the form would have been filled out correctly so that I can save the changes, I can also save them from this pop-up. As if I choose to stay, my changes will not be lost and I stay on this page. If I choose to discard changes, they will be discarded and I will be redirected to the next page. And if I choose to save my data, then it will save the data and then redirect, or for example, in this case, because the credentials are not correct, show the warning or whatever. Yeah. One known issue which I'm still working on is that if I have changed, so my form has unsaved data here, and I change the project here on top, you see it's changed now to the test project, but I'm still on the Sockshop page. So yeah, not sure how to figure that out, but looking to fix that as well so that the value here changes only if the redirect really works. Are there any questions regarding this? If
Page.
Oh yeah, sure. So if I try to refresh the page, then first I will see the browser native pop-up here, because there is no workaround to this. Only the browser can enter or cancel the refresh or reload to another page. But if I click on abort, so I choose to stay on the Keptn page, then I will also see the notification here on top, on the bottom. If I allow the browser to reload, then of course that data is lost. Yeah.
Really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, and the second pull request I would like to present is introducing Keptn color scheme. So we used in Keptn, as you can see on my page, so on my local Keptn installation here, Barista components as a library, and they come with a default theme, having these turquoise buttons and yeah, this color scheme there. And now we also introduced, this pull request is not yet merged, so that's why I'm just showing the pull request. Introduced now, yeah, the Keptn blue, as you know it from the title here, from the header bar, across the page, and also other interaction items. So basically, when we have a look here, yeah, just some places where we used colors. We have the default hover active color, and those are used for interaction items like buttons, checkboxes, radio buttons, and so on. Yeah. So that we have a consistent color scheme across the whole Keptn's bridge.
Is it possible to configure these colors also via the, it's called the customization?
Yes. Basically, when we have a look at this file, so this CSS file is part of the branding directory. So if you use custom branding, then you would need to define all these colors, of course, in your custom CSS, and yeah, provide the values as you can see here. Or if you don't provide any values, as here in this Keptn theme CSS, then it will use the default Barista components colors. So these turquoise buttons again.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So if there are no other questions, then I'm handing over to Florian.
All right, thank you. Let me just share my screen. You should now see my screen. If not, please yell. All right, today I have one pull request to show you, or actually it's the result of a couple of pull requests, which is the service that Giovanni has already told you about. So actually this new service was a collaboration between Andre, Anna, and myself. So first of all, thank you to you both. You did a very great job in helping to bring the service to life. And yeah, basically this is the Swagger documentation for the new service, which will then be supposed to replace our current configuration service. And because of that, it pretty much provides exactly the same functionalities with the additional prerequisite that it needs a mandatory Git remote upstream repository. But that in turn gives us a number of advantages. The first important one is that we are now able to run multiple replicas of the service. And because now the remote upstream repository is the single source of truth. And we also actually don't need a persistent volume attached to the individual pods anymore, but instead they can use mtdir for storing the data, which is created at each start of the pod. But since we now have this remote upstream repository, each new instance will be able to fetch the latest state and the complete Git history via the remote upstream repository. And yeah, one interesting additional feature that is now provided by this service is because now that the remote upstream repository is mandatory, we needed some way of kind of reducing the pressure to the remote upstream. So in order to reduce the probability of running into any API rate limit restrictions, for example, with the GitHub API. And that's why we added the option of when a specific resource is fetched, we now provide the option of providing a Git commit ID, which means that the resource for that given commit ID should be returned. And that allows the resource service to first check in its local Git history if the requested commit is already there in its local history. And if yes, it can directly return the resource. And if not, then it just needs to pull from the upstream. So and we also plan to allow the Keptn execution plane services and the shipyard controller to kind of use the same Git commit ID and refer to that one over the course of a complete sequence. And that means that, for example, if evaluation sequence for that particular Git commit ID is executed, then we should actually have at most n calls to the actual upstream, where n is the number of replicas of the resource service that is currently running. So that should reduce the number of calls to the remote upstream quite a bit. And yeah, what else is there to say? Yeah, maybe one nice thing, because we all like things that are nice. If you look at the coverage statistics here, you see that the current configuration service has a very sad value of 8%, which is the lowest in the list. But now if we direct our attention to the resource service, which is its successor, it is now our coverage champion. It has 83.44. So yeah, that was a nice byproduct of this new implementation, having this additional coverage.
And the resource service is also foundation for the GitOps service, which is upcoming, right? Or are they independent right now?
You mean the Git? The GitOps service will then be one of the users of the resource service, so to speak. Yeah. All right. Are there any other questions? If not, I'll hand over to Andre.
Thanks very much. So I'll share my screen. Yep, hopefully you're seeing my screen. So some good news regarding what Florian mentioned, creating a new resource service, which will be a successor of the configuration service. There is a need to, when converting from configuration service to resource service to have an upstream repository for each project. Therefore, we added a warning for the missing upstream in specified projects during the Keptn upgrade command. This should actually warn the user that, yeah, please create an upstream repository for this project via Keptn update, and therefore it should be working properly. Also the update. Yeah, the second thing was actually removing the CLI command, which was deprecated. This command was Keptn onboard service. This command was actually until now available in Keptn, but from now it won't be available. So users will need to switch from Keptn onboard service to Keptn create service. That's kind of a new thing too. And also we have a new integration test developer documentation, which should be nice for developers which want to contribute to the project. There is a detailed description of the structure of the integration tests, how to add the new integration tests, how to run the integration tests remotely on GitHub or also locally. When running the tests locally, there are steps to how to set up your environment on K3D and also Minishift, and also how to run the integration tests with Keptn. Yeah, so that's actually all from my side. Are there any questions?
Yeah, one question. Did you add documentation updates for removing the CLI command? So
Yeah, I think yes.
perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, that was added.
It's a different repository. It is.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I think it was added.
Cool. Thank you.
So probably no questions. So I'll hand it over to probably Oleg.
You are muted, Oleg.
Yeah, so thanks everyone for the demos. And yeah, I just wanted to quickly discuss Google Summer of Code. We discussed it a bit maybe 1 or 2 months ago. So the applications will open next week. And yep, the question is whether we want to apply as a Keptn community. I think that technically it would be possible if we could have a few mentors. Usually first year projects just get 1 or 2 student slots. And yeah, it would mean 3 months of part-time coding in summer by a student if a project gets accepted. So for me, it seems that some integration services, for example, we have Backstage ID, we have K6 ID, they could fit into this time frame. And if so, I think that it would be nice to apply because we can assemble project ideas. The question is whether we would be able to commit with mentorship during the summer period. So I'm not sure what's commonly a practice for the teams. So do you usually do summer mentorships?
I mean, in the past we had mentorships. One was for LFX, and the other one was, I think, how was it called? Community Bridge, or
Yeah, well,
Bridge.
it's LFX too.
Right, and yeah, but this was not over summer. It was more in autumn or spring timeframe. And I'm not sure, or I think we should think about that. Or I can't answer the question right now. I have to think about it. Yeah, want to give it a week or so, and then I can provide an idea.
Yeah, what is my plan is to prepare a kind of framework. Well, not just specifically for Google Summer of Code, but basically for any similar scale mentorship initiative we may run. So I want to just create a repository with whatever project ideas, with some documentation. And then should we decide to apply to Google Summer of Code, we can just use and apply quickly. So we will still have a few weeks to agree whether we want to do it or not, maybe find potential mentors like we do in other projects. And yeah, after that, we can see whether we have enough interest and enough commitment to apply. Because well, Google Summer of Code is rather, it requires several hours per week from each mentor. So it's still a kind of commitment. especially during the summer when people usually take vacations. And yeah, from what we've seen in many projects, you need at least 3 mentors to be sure that your student doesn't get left without mentors at particular period of time in the summer. So let's see. But yeah, I will try to prepare a more concrete proposal, maybe for the next or meeting in 2 weeks, and then we can see whether we will actually apply. Okay. And I guess that's it.
There are one question on the chat. Any news on the Backstage integration?
There were several threads about Backstage integration being raised by different people. So basically, we have 2 parts of the question. One is Backstage service, which is probably not the most critical part because many things could be done via CLI, hence job executor service, if packaged properly. Another side is actually having a plugin for Backstage, which would display some key metrics from Keptn. And this part was brought up multiple times over the past months. So I think that we definitely need to look in this story. Yeah, right now I don't see anyone specifically working on this project. So I guess if it happens, we will need to maybe approach it through mentorship program like LFX mentorship again, or let's see, maybe whatever hackathon knows. But yeah, Dmitry, I didn't forget about this story because yeah, also I'm also a big fan of Backstage. There was also a proposal just yesterday about having a Backstage instance for Keptn. So who knows? Feel free to unmute yourself. And,
yeah, probably verbally it will be faster. So
Yep.
the question is, if I would like to have a side-by-side comparison of the new version and the baseline would be executed in parallel. Currently, the deployment metrics are the only what been resulted in a Keptn dashboard, but in A/B test comparison, we would like to have a side-by-side presentation of metrics of baseline and the current new version being deployed. So I think it's a bit redesign of what we have today because it's vertical change across all components.
I mean, with the help of Istio, we have the use case of doing blue-green deployments where we deploy the new version next to the old one. But I agree with you that we don't collect then the metrics from both deployments and then visualize them or compare them. We just take a look at the new one and keep the old one as a backup in case we need to do a rollback. But right now, there are no efforts towards A/B testing or doing comparison between the old and new version.
Maybe we can fill a new feature request and discuss it for the roadmap.
It's definitely interesting case, and yeah, I believe that we can partially do it during just creating a separate project, which would aggregate metrics for all the deployment. The problem is how you compare it easily.
Exactly. So basically, in A/B testing, you would like to have a sophisticated comparison logic. So as Keptn calculates the aggregated score, the score aggregation between two sets of execution may be a bit more challenging. So we can discuss different subsystems what could be added in order to have concise summarization of heterogeneous metrics.
Okay, it would be a nice use case, especially for those who do progressive delivery. So filing RFE, yes, for sure. I can take care of it, or you could submit it as you prefer.
Okay, will do.
Yeah, regarding whether it will be implemented quickly, yeah, I think so. I haven't seen progressive delivery and ESTO enhancements on the roadmap. Do we have something short-term in this area?
No, not really.
In our case, the implementation is using Argo CD and Argo rollouts. So it's not even necessarily to use service mesh. It could be implemented using a bit more standardized tools. Flagger also supports that.
Very good hint, Dmitry. Yeah, that was a very good hint, because what we do have is an integration that works with Argo Argo rollouts, and this allows you to then perform a kind of A/B testing using Argo rollouts.
Right. So comparison and having a verdict which version is better is one, but will be very nice to have.
So basically, what we will need is visualization part. Maybe some opportunity to trigger sequences based on events happening in the step. So maybe we would need to route comparisons back to cloud events. I'm not sure, so that they go through the loop, basically creating, basically exposing these differences as a part of SLAs.
Correct. And when we will go to the detailed design, I can suggest a few statistical approaches to have a comparison between two sets of metrics, because a small SLOs being added is more difficult to perform the comparison, because in opposite to blue-green deployment, when you need to get to the suggested thresholds or not get under the suggested thresholds, here you need to have an kind of comparison between two distributions. So several statistical methods could be used in order to have a verdict which one is better.
Yeah. Hannes, you linked Keptn 23, so it's basically Argo rollouts as an engine.
Correct. Yeah. As Dmitry now brought up the idea or hint regarding Argo, I then figured out that we discussed this topic a year ago, and therefore we filed a Keptn enhancement proposal, which proposes to use Argo CD for AB, blue, green, and canary deployments. And Dmitry, before you file a new issue, may I ask you to read over this enhancement proposal and just directly provide feedback there, or collect information from that enhancement proposal?
Absolutely.
As this is was the first discussion that we had in this direction.
Will do. Thanks.
And thank you too for bringing up this case. Okay. So, Dmitry, would you submit a new RFE after processing of Keptn 23?
Right. So I will go through the previous versions and add the notes and fill a new one.
Great. Thank you for that. Yeah. One reminder to everyone: we have an open poll for meeting in APAC/EMEA friendly time zone. If you haven't voted yet, please do. If you want to participate. So the idea is that currently this meeting is not really suitable for Asian and Pacific region. We have some contributors there and a lot of users. So maybe having a meeting in this time zone every 2 weeks or so would be nice. Maybe just moving one of the Keptn community meetings, maybe doing some other kind of arrangement. But I think it would be nice to at least try and see whether we could have critical mass of users and contributors to do something efficient there. Because if so, we could really move some of the meetings. So not creating new meetings, but just doing some time zone balancing. And the voting is here. I shared the link in the chat. Thanks to everyone who already voted. So if it happens, I would expect it to be something like 8 or 9 a.m. UTC. So it's basically friendly for Europe, friendly for APAC region, and also friendly for those on the West Coast who go to the bed late. So yeah, why not? Okay. And that's it for today, I guess. So thanks everyone. I'll get the recording published, and next meeting, I believe, next week usual time, so 4 p.m. UTC, and see everyone there.
See you.
Bye bye.
Thanks all. Bye.
Bye.
I'm looking forward to the new release next week.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
See you.
Mhm.